All right, former Hail State All-American, World Series champ, longtime coach Jay Powell joins us on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone ESPN, brought to you by Make-A-Wish Mississippi. Make-A-Wish Mississippi creates life-changing experiences for children with critical illnesses by granting their heartfelt wishes. At any given time, nearly 120 children across the state are waiting for their wishes to come true. And while the organization is able to grant a wish approximately every 3 days, new referrals continue to come in just as quickly. Every dollar raised stays right there, right here in Mississippi for Make-A-Wish Mississippi. Go to ms.wish.org to volunteer or donate or refer a child today. Visit ms.wish.org. Make a Wish, Mississippi, granting life-changing wishes. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Jay Powell joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Jay Powell, good morning. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Oh, good morning, Bo. Thank you, bud.
Okay, so we're going to unpack some of this, and I'm going to let you go whatever direction you want. But Mississippi State, you played for the M/S. Means a lot to you. You're still involved with the program. You went on to have a hell of a MLB career, all of that. And so it's been a struggle 3 of the last 4 years. Last year was a good year. This year, things aren't going well. They're rolling out. I'd like to get your thoughts, and I know that you've got another job where you're trying to win games with Jackson Prep. But with PicoCon and now Evan Sierre and Carson Ligon, to me, outside of Pico, this is not a good enough SEC rotation for who Mississippi State is. How do you see it with what they've done so far, Jay?
Well, look, I think there's it's not right now. They're probably not what they thought they would be on the weekend. I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, Pico's been really good. I love Ben Davis's stuff. I mean, that kid has really good stuff. For whatever reason, just hadn't been as consistent, I think, as they would like. And the same thing with Carson. I mean, and you know, you get kids like Carson Ligon, his stuff is incredible, but he's just not missing bats. You know, there's a difference, Bo, between command and control. You know, control, you throw strikes. Command, you throw the ball where you want to. And I think a lot of times with Carson, he's trying to throw strikes and his stuff suffers, if that makes sense. And when it does, he gets knocked around a little bit. The flip side of all that is the bullpen is pretty good. They've got some guys down there that can piece together some things. So I'm thinking, you know, from their standpoint, they're hoping Pico goes deep in a game, win game 1, and then they've got enough guys in that pen that they can piece together games 2 and 3. That's tough. It's tough, but there's very few teams in this league that has 3 sure enough SEC guys in the rotation. But it's tough when you're trying to piece together 2 and 3.
So Justin Parker, we know how talented Justin Parker is, the pitching coach at MSU. He did a great job last year. He may be doing a good job this year with what he's got to work with and what you just laid out. But okay, so the bottom line here, it sounds like if Pico doesn't give them 6 or pitch really well and put them in position to win, they're behind the 8 ball on Saturday and Sunday because they're relying on 4 dudes to go out there and have pretty damn good performances to win. Is that where you're going, Jay?
Well, I think game 1 is obviously important in any year and in any series. But with Pico, it's really, really important that you get a good start and really you win that game 1 because there's been some inconsistencies in game 2 and 3. So, I mean, it's the thing you can't have happen is something happen and Pico goes 2-3 or, you know, has to pull in the 4th and you start running through bullpen guys because when you do that, there's just a good opportunity in game 2 and 3. You're going to have to use that bullpen a good bit. And they know that. I mean, this isn't something that's earth-shattering news. So that's why Pico's start on that Friday is really important one, to give you a chance to win, but two, to keep your bullpen in a position to where you can match up and you can pick up some innings going to that Saturday and Sunday games.
So, Jay Powell on the Out of Bounds show, World Series champ, played at Mississippi State. And we're talking the Hail State baseball program. They're 3-9. There's a lot of frustration within the program because of everything that's happened post 2021. This is a program that I believes, and the fan base should believe, that they should be in the postseason every year. Now, you're not going to make the Supers every year. You're not going to make Omaha every year, but regional play should. Go ahead.
You should be in a position every year to make a run.
Mm-hmm.
Some years you're going to have injuries. Some years you're just not going to play good. But what you're saying and what you're getting at, you're exactly right.
Okay.
I mean, they should. That's where they should be.
As a former player, how frustrated are you?
I mean, look, man, I'm gonna say this, and I say this truthfully. Those guys are friends of mine. I can promise you this: there's nobody in the world that wants to do better than those coaches. But that being said, they make a lot of money, and they know what they signed up for in this league. It's a point where we're frustrated. I mean, heck, they're frustrated. I mean, as anybody that's part of that program, whether you're a coach, a player, or whatever, you want to do better than where we are right now. I honestly try to look at it from an optimistic standpoint. The good news is we don't have to go through Tennessee. We don't have to go through Georgia this year. You don't have to go to Arkansas. So you still got a shot. I mean, you still really have a shot. The bad part is going to be if it gets to a point where there is no, quote, window, I guess you could say, to get you to postseason. And I think that's where, that gets really, I think, frustrating for the players and the coaches, because then it's kind of like you're in last place in August in the big leagues, and you're going to the field every day, grinding it out, knowing, there's no shot of us going anywhere.
Right. And do you feel like they are who they are at this point in the season, Jay?
I'm going to say this, Bo. We played Texas at the beginning of the year and lost 3 games. And I remember I was at all 3 games doing the radio. There's not a lot of talent difference in us and Texas, if any. It's really not. And you just look at it, and it's just a situation where right now, some teams find ways to win and some teams find ways to lose. And right now, we kind of kick ourselves in the butt a little bit, and whether it's a situational hitting or base running issue or an error or a bad time or inability, something, it's just, for whatever reason, it's kind of like we just kind of found ways to kick ourselves in the foot. And, that's the part I think that is frustrating, not only to the coaches, but to the fans and to everybody. Is, I mean, there's some kids on this team that's pretty darn good. And it's that part of it, you look at it and you think, well, man, if we can just get hot, if we can just win a couple games here. But the problem is they've dug themselves such a hole that they've got to play, they've got to be 12-6 just to get to 500. And even if you get to 500 in that conference, that's 500 in the SEC is a good record.
Sure.
But the RPI is going to be such that you're not going to host. But at least if you can get back to 500, that would be a heck of a turnaround.
Jay Powell played at Mississippi State, a decade in Major League Baseball. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Mississippi State's in Tuscaloosa this weekend. And, Jay, I think they got to take 2 or 3 to continue to give themselves a shot this weekend. How do you see it?
No question. I figured it up the other day, and they basically have to win 1.8 games per series. So that you're basically at this point, that to me is just to make it in the postseason. So you're basically you've got pretty much no room for error. Now you got Alabama's a really good team, but you could do that. You got Auburn, you got Missouri, you got Ole Miss. So there's some every weekend you're gonna play a good team, but you don't have to go to Arkansas. You're not going to Tennessee the next weekend.
Right.
So you've got some series to where it's doable. It's doable, but you're going to have to go out there and do it. And I know that's such a coach cliche, but, it is doable. I mean, Alabama's good. They're really good. They're good offensively. But it's a series. They can go over there and win.
Yeah. Okay. Jay Powell on the Out of Bounds show. All right, Jay, I'm going to throw this out to you. I'll be interested to see where you want to go or how far you want to go. Now, a lot of people don't like John Cohen, but I thought as a baseball coach, he did a hell of a job. And I thought the toughness component, gritty, compete your tail off till the end, all of that really worked for the program. And I thought that John, and again, he's an acquired taste, but I thought that John also, Jay, the noise and the expectations never fazed him. He knew exactly what he was getting into from being a 3-year starter at Mississippi State and so on. I don't think it's for everybody because everybody knows who you are in town and so on. I like the staff, they're friends of mine too. But it's almost, if they do make a change at some point, I think you've got to look, not exact, but a John Cohen 2.0, whether that's Lane Burroughs or whatever. Do you see where I'm going? Do you agree with anything that I just said?
Well, I'll say this, and I know this is the way I use that analogy is, and I'll use it from the player standpoint. I always say you get kids in there that aren't really they're no Mississippi State, the program. They don't know Mississippi State with 17,000 people there on a Saturday afternoon. It can get overwhelming to some of these kids if it's kind of like, and this is kind of cheesy, but it's kind of like the Yankees in the sense that they're the only only show in town. Mississippi State baseball. Say what you want, but that's Mississippi State.
Sure.
And I sometimes with the players, I feel like they get in there and it's just, it just overwhelms them. I think that can be said with some of the coaches. Now, look, Lim's been there for 6 years? I mean, he gets it. Right. And there's a lot of expectations at that university for that program. So, I get what you're saying. I think having some idea of what you're getting into obviously helps these guys as a coaching staff and as a player. And it's, look, I never want to see anybody lose their job just like you. I mean, right. It's a tough gig, man. It's a tough gig. And like I said, those guys are friends of mine. But, they also know what they signed up for.
Right.
And it's like Richard Williams said one time, it's the reason why there's 2 commas in all these guys' salary nowadays. But, I mean, I get what you're saying. And I think having an idea of the expectations, whether you're a player or a coach, means a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I didn't frame it up. Here's what former players like Adam Frazier and Hunter Renfroe and Rooker and Mangum and Graveman have shared with us. That Cohen was so hard on them, put so much pressure on them in the fall and the first 6 weeks coming out of the winter, Jay, that they felt like those moments both at home and on the road were not too big. Do you see where I'm going there?
Oh, yeah. Look, it's one thing Mississippi State's, and I've got friends at Ole Miss that are good friends of mine, and they always said, the one thing about Mississippi State baseball, they just grind, man. They're blue collar, and honestly, we've lost some of that. We've lost some of that the last few years. We're just sometimes, and people say, well, what makes a tough baseball team? A tough baseball team is a guy that, with a runner at third base with less than 2 outs, gets him right home. Find a way. It's accountability. And some of that, I think that we've kind of lost over the last few years. And, that's a tough thing to kind of swallow sometimes. But, all you can do is just kind of, like I said, just keep going and keep grinding. And it's, just keep playing. I mean, But you got to figure out a way to kind of get that edge back, because that part of it we've been lacking a little bit.
All right. Speaking of edge, you being a former pitcher and had a tremendous amount of success. Take a guy like Cal Steven, who transferred in, who had that dog and grit in him. How impressed were you calling his games and being around him, Jay?
Well, Cal really helped himself by coming to Mississippi State. He really did. I mean, I saw last night he had a great outing in the minor leagues. He was just an uber competitor, as they say. And that's the other thing. We get a guy like Cal Stevens, and now with the way this whole deal is shaped up with the portal, I mean, you hit on them and you do real well, but if you miss, you do bad. And there's, and I don't want to get off on the other end, because I'll to answer your question, I was extremely impressed. I love watching Cal pitch. I mean, but at the same time, the bigger issue, I think, is when we're talking about this team, something's going to have to, and this is college baseball, like there's going to get to a point where you're going to have to just hire somebody to handle, almost like a general manager.
Sure.
If they're not going to change the portal, then we've got to hire somebody to say, okay, I saw this kid at Westville, Indiana, or whoever, or, Indiana State or wherever, and he's really good and can help us. Because you're going to have to go to the portal every year. And I just think sometimes these college guys, these coaches don't have enough, whether it's resources or time, to really evaluate some of these portal kids.
Okay, I agree with that. All right, do you have a couple more minutes, or do you got to? Okay,
no, I'm good.
All right, Jay Powell on ESPN 105.9 The Zone, All-American at Mississippi State, decade MLB, talking Hail State baseball. If a change has to be made at some point, do you subscribe to the theory that, all right, here's what I want to throw out: O'Sullivan at Florida, Vitello at Tennessee, and Corbin at Vandy all went from assistants to head coaches, Jay, and it worked.
Right.
All right. John Cohen worked at Mississippi State. He had already been at some small school in Louisiana and had been at Kentucky and had won an SEC championship there, as you know. So it can work a number of different ways. Are you one that subscribes to the theory that, because I think Cohen had Cannizzaro right. He had the right pick and the right Uber recruiter if he doesn't screw up off the field. But here's where I want to, do you believe that it has to be a sitting head coach, or no, Bo, if it's somebody that's a super successful assistant, then I could buy that too? Where do you stand?
Well, I'm just going to talk, and I respect the question, but I'm going to just answer it in just my opinion of coaches in general. You know what I'm saying? I think that sometimes, and we lose sight of that, whenever we go out, these ADs or whoever in these search committees, they go out and they start looking for coaches. They start two things. They get too concerned about how it's going to land on Twitter.
Yeah.
And one of the guys we're talking about, and I love him too, but he was real concerned about how, when he hired coaches, how it's going to land on Twitter. And two, they get so caught up in, he's a great recruiter. Well, at some point, you still have to teach baseball. These are 19-year-old kids coming out of high school. Now, the portal's different, but at some point, you still have to teach baseball. And you can't be afraid to, if it's an assistant, if it's a head coach, whoever, you've got to hire the right guy and not worry about what everybody else is going to say.
Right.
And I think that with a lot of these ADs, and I'm talking about Zach, I'm talking about John, I'm talking about all across the country, get so concerned about how it lands on social media, and more so than is it is this the guy Kendall Rogers said to hire? If it is, let's hire him. Well, that may not be the right guy.
Sure.
There ain't no offense to Kendall, but you need to hire the right guy for the right place, and not who's the hot guy on Twitter.
I agree. All right. Well, Jay Powell, that was great. I appreciate it. And I know you're ready for this program to, hopefully you're hoping that they catch fire starting tonight.
I am, man. I'm hoping they catch fire, and I'm hoping they make a run. And everything is as good as gold. And, I really am, because, those dudes are friends of mine and I want them to do well. But at the same time, and I told Ron Polk this, and I told John Cohen this program is bigger than Jay Powell, Ron Polk, John Cohen, Lim, whoever. It's not about us. It's about that program. So at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for the program.
You just nailed it. Jay Powell, have a good weekend. We appreciate you.
Thank you, bud.
Jay Powell on the Out of Bounds Show, World Series champ, All-American at Mississippi State, pitching coach for Jackson Prep, and we appreciate him laying that out for us. I thought he made some great points, and again, he's friends with the staff, so am I, but he just nailed it. No one is bigger than the program, so they got to get going, or some change, in my opinion. They got to get going, or some changes need to be made. Can they do it? Possibly. It's going to be, if they had gotten one more win against Texas or LSU, if you just don't go, if you go 2-4, maybe even 1-5, because literally one conference win could be the difference.
Yep.
But damn, now you got to go to Tuscaloosa tonight, Jackson Meadows, and you got to, this weekend. And obviously Pico Khan is throwing. And I don't really know what you have after that. I mean, these guys are a million billion times better than me. But Evan Sierra and Carson Ligon, I just don't know if they're good enough to get, Jay would know, and if they're good enough to get enough swing and miss at the SEC level, because it's damn hard to do. They may be more mid-relief guys or Tuesday guys, but, one of them may take the baseball this weekend and go 5 2/3 and shut down Alabama and get to that mid-relief back into the pen, which Jay was describing as guys. And I agree with him. That is the more talented group outside of Pico Khan. I know, you were expecting some things from Charlie Foster. You were expecting some things from Pruitt, the Indiana State. I mean, Indiana State was number 4 in the country all year last year.
Right.
And, some things have happened, but the bottom line is you got to win. You just got to win.
Who's on campus next year, Lamonis or Keyshawn Murphy?
Oh, if I had to bet right now, neither.
Neither.
Well, no, I think there's like, I don't know. I don't know if it broke in the last few minutes if he's gone. Hold on.
Oh, wow, really?
Because I was just focused on interviewing Jay. I'll have to look. We're live in the Bake Plus studio. The chicken Parmesan gyro with a ice-cold cocktail, Tito's and lemonade. Aplos in the Renaissance, Aplos in Highland Village with some of those Parmesan fries at Aplos. Hour number 3 coming up. Tanner Allen's going to join us in a few minutes live in studio. You'll want to watch on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's 9 a.m., and this ain't no K show. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
On aboard!
As Mississippi's #1 morning show rolls on the Zone 105.9 and online at thezone1059.com.
Man, we're going to have a busy third hour. We've got the 2021 National Player of the Year, Tanner Allen, TA, in studio right now. You can go to YouTube, search Out of Bounds Sports, and watch it. We are the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by, we'll make this one brought to you by Mississippi's College Town. That's Starkville, Mississippi, and Two Brothers, awesome bar, grill, restaurant, and then Older Brother, the new bistro up there, which is fantastic. And I've told you about their Reuben and their shrimp po' boy, and they do a lox bagel, fried crab claws, all at Older Brother Bistro in the Cotton District. This is ESPN 105.9 The Zone. TA, Tanner Allen, good morning. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, I was in town, and I hadn't seen you in a while, so I shot you a text, said, come on up, dude. Let's go.
I love seeing you. You've been up here before. It's always good to have you in. You spoke to Germantown this morning?
Yeah, I did. I went and did a little event at Germantown this morning. It went really well, man. These young men and women nowadays really don't have many positive role models to look up to. You know, everybody's kind of, I guess you could say, running for the devil.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, with my little platform I got, I need to use it best I can to influence these people, these young men and women, the correct way. So that's what I've been doing.
Well, and I'm glad you're speaking all over the Southeast. That's good. And I would keep it up to schools, to teams, corporate, all that. I think it's a great space for you. To share with our listeners that Jake Mangum, obviously you and Jake Mangum are good friends.
Right.
Y'all played together. You're still good friends. Y'all were on unbelievable teams. You had that whole bonding thing that you'll have forever. You and Rowdy and Jake Foscue, well, all these dudes. Share the Jake Mangum story with our listeners. So that you told this morning.
Yeah,
in Germantown.
so I told these young men and women this morning the story about Jake Mangum because Jake's doing outstanding in the big leagues right now, man. First off, before we get started, this is long overdue.
Yes.
And I'm so happy for him because when you see somebody firsthand watch him work so hard for a goal and just keep getting slapped in the face, and he finally makes it. It's like, man, you can't help but pull for that guy. Yeah. So hats off to him. So I'm going to tell this story about him and how he influenced my career. And I tied it together with a Bible verse out of Proverbs, as iron sharpens iron, right? Mm-hmm. As one man sharpens his face of his neighbor. So when I was a freshman at Mississippi State coming in, right when I got to campus, 2018, TA's getting to campus, doesn't know anybody. Mom and dad leave. I'm like, dude, I'm on my own up here. I don't know anybody, right? And so we have a first team meeting, and I see all the guys in there. I'm like, man, these guys are really, really good. I don't even know if I can play here. This is crazy, right? And, well, at the end of the team meeting, coach is like, you don't get to go in the locker room yet. Before you get to go see your personal individual locker room, my individual is like my moment to where I'm really on the team. That's my locker right there.
Right.
Here's all my baseball gear, all my stuff. Like, I'm on the team now. Before I get to see that, it's like, you got to pass a conditioning test. And dude, I hate running. Hate it so bad. All right. And this conditioning test is 17 110-yard sprints.
17 110-yard sprints.
And you got 12 seconds to get down there.
No.
All right. So you're boogieing 17 times, right? And so I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, I really don't like to run. I'm pretty strong, but I don't like to run. I'm like, I don't know if I'm in good enough shape to do this. So I'm real nervous about it. Well, 2 days before the conditioning test, me and a man named Jordan Westberg, he plays in the big leagues now, right, with the Orioles.
Yeah.
He was my roommate my freshman year, and we're like, hey, look, let's go see how bad this conditioning test is really going to be.
Oh.
Go over to football. Go to the football practice fields one night, 2 nights before.
No.
Take off running, dude. I ran 9, I think, 8 or 9. Fell over, was cramping up, throwing up. I'm like, man, I'm not even halfway. This is not good. I'm not in shape. And I think Westy barely passed, and he was in really good shape too. So 2 days later, conditioning test rolls around, and I'm get to the baseball stadium at like 5:30, and we walk over to football. Man, I'm so nervous because I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, man, I'm here at Mississippi State trying to play at the best program in the country. My body's my tool, right? I'm not in good shape. It reflects that I don't take my craft serious, man. These folks are going to think I'm just up here just to be here, right? Not to help. My first impression of my new coaches, my new teammates, my new staff is, hey, I'm Tanner Allen. I want to come play at Mississippi State, but I'm not in shape. I'm like, no, they're not going to take me too serious. No. So we're lined up on the goal line. And at the time, it was Coach Canizero, and he's out there talking about, man, I don't even remember what he was saying. I was so nervous. And I look to my right, and there stands Jake Mangum. And a light bulb goes off in my head. And it's like, that's the best player on our team, probably one of the best players in all of America. I know he's going to pass the test. So why don't I just go run next to him?
Oh.
So I'm gonna go run next to him. So if I go over there to him, I don't have to worry about making a time. I don't have to worry about how many reps we got left. Only thing I'm focused on is do exactly what he does.
Yeah, smart.
Dude. So I go up to Jake, and he probably don't even remember. I'm like, hey, man, I'm running next to you. He looked at me and said, hope you can keep up. I'm like, that's why I'm here. You know? So we take off running, and as we're running, man, the whole time, I'm not worried about, like I said, no times, no how many reps. I'm just staying in his hip pocket the whole time because I know he's going to pass. Right. And it's like 30 minutes goes by, I look up, and I pass the test. And funny story. Now, I know nobody's going to, like, I hate to pick on him, but Rowdy did fail that day. He did fail that day. And so, look, I passed the test, right? I'm like, man, that was really easy. All I did was do what Jake did. So I took it a step further. I'm like, well, he's a really good player. Everybody loves him. I want to be like that. So I started paying attention to how he practiced, how he prepares for games.
Right.
How he would get after it in BP, like defensively in live BP, like track down fly balls nonstop. One of the best outfitters I've ever seen, right? Base running. How he treats people off the field, dude. I tell people all the time, Jake will stop in the back alley in the middle of the night and sign an autograph and take a picture with Mississippi State fans.
Sure.
And everybody loves him. So I was like, I want to be like that.
Right.
So then I start doing the things he's doing, like training-wise, like swing-wise. I'm like, man, this guy's got the most hits in SEC baseball history. I might want to pick his brain on what he's doing.
Right.
You know, so I start picking his brain, and I start doing the things he's doing and focus on things he's doing, trying to make my mindset like his, getting after it on defense, base running, doing everything he can in some weird way that makes me a 3-time All-American national champ.
How about that?
That's the secret right there. So I was like, look, you hang around. Like, all I did was do what Jake did, and look what happened to me. He's got all the accolades. Now I got him. You know, and I feel like right now in Starkville, we don't have any of that going on.
Oh,
No.
You know what I mean? And that's okay. We need to realize, hey, somebody's got to take charge, and you guys follow me.
We need a TA, a Jake Mangum, an Adam Frazier.
100%.
And that's easy to say.
It is.
But not everybody's wired like that. We're Mississippi State fans are hoping that someone is, I guess, close to becoming that guy.
Yeah.
That just says enough of this. We're going to throw down. We're going to win games. We're going to find a way. Like,
I feel like
Rooker, TA, Mangum, Frazier, Hunter.
Man, I can even remember like Hunter Stovall, man, spark plug second baseman. He wouldn't let anything fly.
You couldn't beat him.
You couldn't beat him. Elijah McNamee.
He went down to the last pitch every game.
Yeah, Elijah McNamee.
Absolutely. He was a dog.
So all I did, like I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, guys, when I was a freshman, I didn't know anything about SEC baseball, how competitive. All I did was watch the guys in front of me and be like, wow, dude, these guys are getting after it. I need to be doing this. Like, if I thought about it like this, if I'm going to be in the lineup with Jake Mangum, Elijah McNamee, Hunter Stovall, I'm like, I better be bringing it.
Yeah. So were you in Foscue and Westberg's class?
Yes.
You, Rowdy, Foscue, Westberg.
That's 4.
We're all in the same class. Good Lord. 2021 National Player of the Year. 2 first-round picks.
Rowdy, 2-time All-American.
2-time All-American, 3-time. I mean, think about that. That's just those 4 guys.
Accolades.
Damn. All right, you're coming back and hanging out with us at 9:30. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to do another interview here in just a minute. TA's in the house, the 2021 National College Baseball Player of the Year. If you want him to speak to your business or to your school or booster club or team, we can get you in touch with TA and Tanner Allen. He's speaking all over the Southeast, which is smart. We'll be back in a second. Okay, good morning. Welcome in. It's a Masters Friday. Second round is underway, Augusta National. And I can't wait to see what plays out this weekend. We just had Tanner Allen on. Talk about the ebb and flow of a season or a game. Think about what's going to happen. Who knows who's going to be on the leaderboard, fall off the leaderboard, come charging in over the next couple of days. It's going to be wild at Augusta National and a ton of fun to watch. TA plays a lot of golf, by the way, so we're going to get Tanner Allen on Dancing Rabbit Golf Course, Azaleas in the Oaks, and we were there this week. We did a show at the Sports Book yesterday, so Pearl River Resort. And then we've got Jake Manning with us, who is the owner of Mississippi Smart Homes, mssmarthomes.com. I've got the surround sound system in my house and my man room, and it is awesome for the Masters. I'll have it for this weekend. It was awesome for March Madness. The Sonos surround system, powered by mssmarthomes.com. And it's awesome for Spotify when I play it loud and movies and everything else. So we want to welcome in Jake Manning to the Out of Bounds Show. Jake and I were together in 2020. This is before we knew each other that well. We were together in 2021 out in Omaha when TA and the team won the national championship, and we were going to dinner every night. Me, you, your brother, your dad, your granddad, Craig Fant, it was like 10 of us.
Yeah, Craig had us going. Yeah, Craig had us going to just some crazy steakhouses, everything, back room. It was awesome.
It was.
And that's just opportunity of a lifetime, getting to do all that.
He rented the private room in that steakhouse the night that TA and them beat Texas with the walk-off, 3-2, I think it was. Remember, we had that whole
just
private
barely.
room? Yeah. And we went big, and Craig was ordering great wine. But anyway, all right, so that I just had to reminisce a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So because you were out there. You were the one that showed me how to drive the little moped thing so that I wouldn't crash it driving around Omaha.
We shouldn't have been driving them, but we were.
That's right. Me, you, and John met your dad, Mike Manning, who's with the men's clinic, and your brother and Craig Fant. We met him at this awesome Italian restaurant one night, and Jake had to tell me how to get on the damn
we're talking about a bird scooter, one of those little lawn scooters. Nice.
And we had already had some beverages.
Before they started locking them at like 10 p.m. so that people couldn't do exactly what we were doing. Yeah.
Holy hell.
I'm just glad
Jake was like, dude, hold on. Here he is, 30 years younger than me. He was like, hold on, here's how you have to do this thing or you're going to hurt yourself on the sidewalk.
They're like dangerous.
Dude, we were going.
I've
like
seen
they
it.
go like 20-something miles an hour.
I was flying down the sidewalk.
I'm proud of you.
In between Texas and Vanderbilt fans. I wanted to run over the Vanderbilt fans, but I didn't. All right. I need to tee you up on we want you to get more clients and people to go to MS Smart Homes. Right. mssmarthomes.com. You have your new office, which is a showroom floor. So, but tell us what you want to talk about first today.
Sure. Well, per usual, you probably heard me on here before, but we do everything IT in a house. And if you're building, you're moving, you're renovating, you need to come by the showroom. It's just silly to be doing any of those things and not think about technology in your home at this time.
And you're behind Carlacas in Ridgeland.
Yeah, right off Jackson Street.
Okay.
Easy to get to, just right at that Ridgeland exit. But the number one way that we're growing is doing commercial work. So probably going to have to end up making like a separate entity with a better name because people, when they hear Mississippi Smart Homes, they don't think about commercial work.
They think residential.
Okay. But we do everything from networking infrastructure, datacom, audio visual, conference rooms, general IT, security, all of it.
Okay.
Pretty much only thing we don't do in commercial is fire alarms. So whether we got some commercial developers, some commercial contractors, some commercial real estate agents listen, or just people that own their own business that need help with IT.
Sure.
Not only do we come out during construction, but we also support commercially just like we do residentially. Like no more guys that don't show up. If you're having a problem, you're going to get same-day service and you're going to get your business taken care of.
Right.
So that's best example was we do some work out at Briar Patch, and his internet went down on a Saturday at about 1. And he's can't do point of sale, can't do any business.
You got to ring up those Tito's espresso martinis.
Got to. Just paying like $15 for them, but they're good.
Yeah.
And so he calls me freaking out, and we're able to get out there, get a Starlink set up, because C-Spire ain't coming out till Monday to get his internet service reestablished. So we're able to, in less than an hour, we've got his internet back up, and he's able to, Saturday's his biggest day. You got to keep the business moving.
I'm there a lot on Saturdays, the Briar Patch in Livingston.
Yeah.
So you were able to get him back up and running.
Just like
they're
that.
able to slide check cards and credit cards and sell flatbreads and Elijah Craig Manhattans.
And that's the number one advantage of us is just we're responsive. You have a critical failure like that, we're going to get you taken care of.
So this Jake Manning, owner of MS Smart Homes and mssmarthomes.com. They've got a new showroom floor in Ridgeland right off Jackson Avenue. It's right behind Kralaka's and Went McGee's office. I was there for your grand opening. It's awesome what you and John and all y'all did. Showroom floor and all the bells and whistles, whether it's residential or commercial. They're still into residential, the Sonos surround system. You can control everything from your phone, and it makes movies and sporting events and Spotify.
Yeah, I'll get freaked
sound
out sometimes.
Awesome.
In my surround sound, like a Dolby Atmos movie, like scary movie is scary. Yeah.
Well, and you can hear the birds chirping when you've got the Sonos surround sound system from mssmarthomes.com. All right, I've got a couple of minutes here. What else do we want to hit?
So one thing that we just offered as a service that a lot of people just don't know where to start is cybersecurity. I almost got hacked 2 weekends ago, and if I didn't have a software engineering degree with cybersecurity in it from Mississippi State, I probably would have been. But I did have best practices. I did know how to defend myself, lock it all down, and that made me not just want to talk about it, but offer it as a service for Mississippi Smart Homes to help people.
Sure.
So coming out, sitting down with you, auditing your passwords, getting all your passwords saved in the password app on your phone. Two-factor authentication is the gold standard, and you can turn that on for everything. All your financial institutions require it. So that's good, but you can turn it on for your Facebook. You can turn it on for your Instagram. And I was bringing that up earlier, and you got hacked.
I got hacked last month. Yeah.
Well, and you're just locked out.
I'm locked out of the out of bounds page.
Now
Do you
we're
think
here
you can get in
Allen's
it
gone.
and figure it out?
We can try. It's a preventative game. So once we get locked out, it's hard to recover. But the number one most important thing is having two-factor authentication and having distinct passwords. So what happened to me, I get a notification, two-factor pop up, and they go, whatever, deny it. And then it happens again, and I realize, my God, he's got my password in my email. And the only reason he's not getting in is two-factor. And they can't get into your email, but then what they do is they reverse search you. They reverse search that email, see what can they get to pop up. And they know they've got some winning numbers. And now they're trying those winning numbers everywhere they can.
They compromised my Amex that was tied in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then once they got some winning numbers, that's why your privacy settings are really important, making it where you're not reverse searchable.
Jackson, it's your fault that I wasn't with
Most things
with
are.
Jake Manning. I almost said Mangum.
Yep.
And all right, so Jake Manning, Mississippi Smart Homes, new showroom floor in Ridgeland behind Kralaka's. All right, and you need to go to mssmarthomes.com so that you can see kind of the menu and then call Jake and the team, and they'll set you up. mssmarthomes.com.
I got a new full-time saleswoman named Catherine. She's a photographer in her spare time, and that camera can make me look good, so the website actually looks great.
Website looks awesome. mssmarthomes.com. Call Jake Manning today. Tanner Allen coming up next. All right, Tanner Allen joining us, friend of the show, friend of mine, Hail State All-American, 2021 College Baseball Player of the Year, and national champion at Mississippi State. He is now working with people one-on-one. I hope you're charging a pretty penny. You don't have to say what, but I hope that you're charging a premium, because I said this a couple years ago. You didn't even know this, obviously. But I said, if Jake Mangum and Tanner Allen ever start giving lessons, they need to charge, I'm not kidding, like $250 an hour. So anyway, now you're also, TA's doing speaking engagements around the Southeast. We already heard from one person, but if you would like for TA to share his story of what it takes to be a 3-time All-American, the work that you have to put in. He talked about the chemistry that he and Mangum and Westberg and Foscue and Rowdy, among others, developed, the highs and the lows, and going to 3 College World Series in only 3 seasons that he played, and the national championship, and there's all kinds of life lessons. Then we can get you in touch with Tanner Allen. I mean, he's been able to speak in Mobile, Atlanta, Jackson, Huntsville, Birmingham, all over, and if it works out, you'll do that, right?
For sure, man. Like I said, I do a lot of spiritual stuff, a lot of inspirational stuff. I got plenty of good stories that people can relate to. I have a special ability to relate baseball to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I have learned many lessons through baseball. A lot of success, and a lot of them have been failure too.
Yeah.
And I have learned that what you do when you're in the valley determines if you get out of the valley or not.
No doubt about that.
That's probably the number one thing that I've learned through baseball.
Well, and I think you know this better than anybody else because of the success you had, but there's some nights you go 1 for 4, and that's a good night because you got the hit at the right time in the 8th inning.
I'll tell you a cool story about that. I hit a walk-off home run against Texas A&M my last year at State on a Friday night. And early in the game, people don't remember this at bat, but I remember it very vividly. It was the weekend after I hit the triple against Ole Miss. Okay. Very cool moment, right? Very cool moment. Yeah. And it was like a big part of the game. Bases were loaded again. I come back to the plate. I'm like, hey, here comes another triple, right?
Yeah.
And, dude, I faced a guy that I played with in pro ball. His name's Chandler Joswiak. And he threw a pitch behind my head. The first pitch he threw went behind my head, hit my barrel for a strike. Nice. And his shoulder, he hurt his shoulder. So he had to come out the game. And they brought another left-hander in. So I had to face a brand new lefty I hadn't seen yet with already a strike behind me, and this guy struck me out. And when he struck me out, it sucked the energy right out of the stadium. I'll never forget it. I'm like, man. So I'm walking out to right field, and I remember getting out there. I'm like, hey, look, I got one more chance. I'm going to have another chance to win this game. And then, lo and behold, in like the 11th inning, I come in, first pitch of the inning. Homer. Let's go home. So nobody remembers the strikeout, but I remember it.
You do.
Yeah.
Players do. Mangum
Exactly.
said the same thing. He'll be in here like you, and he'll be like, yeah, but I struck out here, but then I got a hit.
Exactly.
The ability to literally remember every at bat.
Yeah, but
it's nuts.
Here's what else TA and Mangum and those guys do, and this is, I think it's extremely difficult. Somehow they're able to flush it enough. The next, Cohen's talked about this on the show, and we've had Billy Bean on, and we've had all these guys. They're like, Billy Bean talks about how he was big time pick out of high school. And he said, I couldn't flush it when I went 0 for 4. It lived with me the next day and the next. And he said, the one thing that Lenny Dykstra could do, who was a little crazy man, but he said, if he went 0 for 4, he'd wake up the next day and he'd be like, I'm the best hitter in the ballpark. And that's
every time I walked to the plate, I tried to have the mentality of I'm 3 for 3 on the day. And, I learned that from Jake Mangum.
Right.
Hunter Stovall,
Right.
Elijah McNamee.
Right.
I mean, just Westberg, Foscue, we all did this. You got to have a short memory. And, a lot of things in life, you got to have a short memory. There's a lot of circumstances.
No
but
doubt.
I feel like, one of the best compliments I ever got was from one of my best friends, Brad Cummins, the Mule. And it was indirect. It was indirect, too. He said, another friend of mine said they were hanging out at a buddy of ours' house, and they were talking about the 21 team. And Mule said, TA was so good because you thought he never cared whether he was doing good or bad. He never showed emotion.
Yeah.
Nothing bothered him. And really, man, did I care? Oh, yeah, I cared. But I knew that if I'm the leader on the team and I'm leading our guys throughout the postseason into Omaha and all that stuff, there's going to be adversity.
That's right.
Now, if I fall off the train and start panicking, everybody panics. So I knew that I had to stay the course no matter how I was playing, what the circumstances were. I always had to stay positive every single time.
And you mentioned earlier you saw how hard Jake Mangum worked and his approach and how intense he was, and you picked up on that.
Yeah, like I just told you a second ago, man. I learned things from him that I started to apply to my game, like the routine I just told you about. I'd have Friday night, Saturday night before the game.
Share with our listeners.
Some even Sundays. That really depends. But man, I'd come into the field at report time. Most likely on a Friday was 2:00. Have pregame meal, and then we get going with our day. I'd get there at 12:45, and I'd suntan on the field. I'd suntan on Duty Noble. Ask Brandon Harden; he's the field keeper. He would see me there every single Friday afternoon. I'd suntan behind second base, hook up to the speaker in the stadium, blaring music, right? But I would get into the cage at 1:15, the cage right beside the locker room. And I'd get in there and I'd do my routine. I had these 3 drills I would always do, and I hit some balls off the tee until I really felt good. And I got so balled into my routine that if I didn't do it, I was scared to get in the box that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'd be doing it and doing it and doing it. And 2:00 would roll around and guys would start walking in. And the tunnel was right by the locker room. And the guys would come in through the hallway, look right at me in the tunnel, and go in the locker room, one after another. And I kept watching them and watching them and watching them and watching them. And finally, something went off in my head. I'm like, I'm hitting .411 in the SEC right now. I'm probably the best hitter in all of America. And not one of these guys has come in here and asked me what I'm doing.
Right.
Because I can tell you right now, if I was a freshman or sophomore and I saw Jake or Hunter Stovall doing that, I'm in there trying to figure out what they're doing, and I'm doing it the next day. Or hey, look, can I hit with you next game before the game?
Right.
Not one of those guys did that. And I'm leading the entire country hitting, And then what has happened since? It's been downhill because nobody they didn't pay attention. It's like, I'm not trying to tell you I was doing it the right way or that I was better than him.
Was working.
Yeah, clearly something was working. I'm not telling you I was better than him. No, I'm just telling you this because the way I viewed it was, if I saw Jake doing that, I was doing it because he was really good.
Right.
And next thing you know, my career started to flourish the same way. So these guys watched me do it. And like I said, I was leading the entire country hitting, and they didn't want to do it. Then the next year we have a down year, then a down year, and then we start to come back. I mean, we got to have more guys like that in the locker room, man. More guys that swallow their pride and say, hey, that guy did it the right way. I'm going to do it his way, how he did it.
You just explained something that Hunter Renfroe said on this set where you're sitting. He said, I finally realized what I had to do in the off season after my sophomore year. And he got in the cage with Cohen all summer and fall to turn his career and become a hell of a player.
Player.
Brent Rooker has sat exactly where you are. And Mangum has said he took from Rooker, you took from Mangum. I mean, this is how it goes.
It's how it works. But here lately, who have we had?
Nobody.
And Adam Hunter Renfroe said the way that Adam Frazier worked like a dog. And that's how. And you're talking about getting there 2 hours before you had to get there, and you were hitting over 400, and you're already a 2-time All-American. It's just what you got to do.
That's what you got to do. Like, if you think showing up for practice and going through practice is enough, it's not enough.
No.
And it just baffled me, man. I'd sit there and watch those guys come in and out, and not one of them would come ask me what I'm doing.
So if there were some words of, words of encouragement, for lack of a better term, that you could give to the locker room up there in Starkville right now, what would it be?
That's a good question. Right now, in their state, I would say, hey, look, guys, we got to take it one game at a time. We just won the series at South Carolina. I know everybody's, we got to, thank God we won a series. No, it's not about everybody outside the program. It's about us in this locker room, the staff, this coaching staff. It's about us. The next best thing we got to focus on is beating Alabama tonight. Okay, one game at a time. Because in all reality, guys, if they go to Tuscaloosa this weekend and take 2 or 3, they're right back in it.
Right.
Like that. But folks don't think that way. Everybody wants to be so negative. Oh, we're going to go get swept at Alabama. No, you don't understand. The talent level in the SEC is right here. Everybody's got players just like that.
Right.
Anybody can beat anybody on any given weekend. Texas A&M, what did they do to Tennessee last weekend?
Yeah.
Beat them. Yeah. Why can't we go to Tuscaloosa, take 2 out of 3, maybe even sweep? Come on back to the house. Now everybody back on the train.
Right.
That's how it works.
Were you Tanner Allen on the Out of Bounds show, National Championship Team 2021? So you were LSU and Mississippi State. How much did Auburn and Bama? Because you're from Mobile.
Yeah.
How much did Auburn and Bama recruit you?
Auburn gave me a very generous scholarship. I'm talking very generous. Now, I never got to go on my visit to Alabama because they came on the scene just a little bit later.
Got it.
And I was already committed to LSU at the time.
Okay.
So I never went to Bama. But they got, man, what they're doing over there right now, they got a good ball club. They're going to be good, man. It's not going to be an easy weekend for the Dogs this weekend. But I think they can do it.
Oh, I think they can take 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Pico's got to win. And I don't know if you can survive. You know, he needs to win tonight, or they, and then try to grab another one between the two.
And here's the thing, you know, my last year in the dugout, I was in the dugout Friday night in Baton Rouge with them, and I before the game, hanging out with the guys with big rain delay,
right?
And they have very good team chemistry, and they still believe in each other. It's just one of those ruts you're in. Sometimes, you know, I told him, I said, you guys are looking around for somebody to do something instead of taking it upon yourself to be like, hey, look, I'm going to do it today.
Right.
I'm going to win the game for us today. You know what I mean? So they got to kind of take that kind of mentality into it, man. And they are in the right state of mind from what I hung around. And all they need is to have a little success.
Yeah.
And this weekend is a great opportunity, man.
It is. You take 2 or 3, much less sweep. You're right. You got a shot.
You back in it. But here's the deal.
Because
like
as
you just
Jay
said,
Powell just said, you avoid Tennessee, Georgia, and Arkansas down the stretch. Not that everybody doesn't have players, but you avoid those 3. There may be a path to get to 14 or 15
here's the deal.
SEC wins.
If you can do that, all right, and you get Arkansas or Tennessee in the postseason, guess who the pressure's on in the postseason? Them. It ain't on us because they're supposed to win.
Right.
Use that to your advantage.
Right.
Because you jump out on them, guess what they're going to do?
Collapse.
Tanner Allen played at Mississippi State, 3-time All-American, national champion. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show. If you want to book TA for speaking engagements, church, school, business, you know, some kind of club.
Events, man. Anything.
Events. He did a great job. He and Jake, Tanner Allen, TA and Jake Mangum spoke at an event at the Country Club in October, and they were phenomenal. And they fed off each other, and it was a lot of fun listening to them share their story. So we'll get you in touch with TA Tanner Allen if you want to have him speak to your organization or business or event. Okay, so where were we going with that? I had a question on. Oh, all right. Who was the most talented player that you played with at MSU?
Talented? Man, that's a good question.
Was it Westberg or Foscue? As far as like pure baseball talent?
Pure baseball talent. Man, that is a very, very good question. We had some guys that were just unbelievable.
Like Mangum and Rowdy and Westberg and
Rowdy, Westberg, Foscue. I mean,
like who was a guy that you walked in and
Logan
you were like,
Tanner was unbelievably talented. Had a
Yeah.
bazooka behind the plate, could hit it a mile.
Yeah.
Like he was super talented. Landon Sims, I mean, this guy had a natural fastball that vertical ride like this much. There's so many good players, man. That's a really good. I'd have to think for a while on that.
How difficult was Landon to hit in inter squad games?
Okay, so that's a good question.
How did that work?
And he'll tell you the same. Me and Landon used to get after it.
Okay.
And I got him a couple times.
Yeah.
And he'd get me too. But the thing about Landon was when I faced Landon, I said, there's no way he's getting a fastball by me.
Okay.
I'm not going to let him walk around and tell everybody he blew a fastball by TA. That ain't happening.
Okay.
So I would just camp out on the fastball. And I get him a couple times. Oh, yeah, I did. But then, did he get me? Yeah. But it was always a really good competitive at bat. But guess what it did for both of us?
Made you better.
Made us better.
Yeah. Can you imagine in an inter squad game, you got Landon Sims against Tanner Allen? That's ridiculous.
It was a fun time.
That's what
Fun time.
It's supposed to be.
I say it was a fun time like 1 or 2 times for me.
Right.
What's his second best pitch?
Slider.
That's
And here's
what I
why
thought.
Landon was so good, man. He could throw the slider in the zone whenever he wanted to. When he's got 2 of them, good luck.
He's still playing ball too, yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a Diamondbacks.
That's right.
Okay.
Landon was good, man. I tell people all the time, we had a lead late in the game, and I hear Whitesnake break up.
Curtains.
I'd be looking in the outfield trying to find a hamburger.
Yeah. I love it. Tanner Allen on the Out of Bounds show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. All right. Did you start from day one?
I started from day one.
At first base.
First base.
Then you went to right.
I've been third base, right, left, first. It was
Okay.
just like, hey, we need his bat in the lineup.
Right.
You know, which was fine with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget, dude. My opening night, went in there in the dugout and saw my name in the lineup. I'm like, I'm starting to miss it. Last year, I was playing high school ball. This time, now I'm playing best baseball team in America right now. And we got swept at Southern Miss, long weekend.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Then everything happened.
Facing, God, what was his name? He was in the big leagues last year.
Oh,
Sidearm guy for Southern Miss,
Golly,
dude, was
hold on.
disgusting. I cannot. His name left my head. I can't remember, but he was really, really good. I almost took him deep my first at bat.
Did you know that you were going to – did you feel confident after fall ball of your freshman year that you were going to start?
Yeah. Here's the deal about fall, though. People forget or people don't know. I had a really good fall individual-wise. Like, I was tearing the cover off the ball. Like, could really, really swing it. And the second scrimmage, we were actually inside in the scrimmage. I was playing second base. Me and Jake Mangum getting a rundown. I'm running, and I dive to tag Jake. When I dive, he dives. When he dives, metal spike goes through my left knee. Opens me up wide open. Got like 9 stitches. It shut me down for their entire fall.
Oh.
It might have been more than, it might have been 15 stitches. I got a scar on my knee from like that far.
Damn.
So Jake wounded me my first fall. And I was like shut down for the fall. I had to walk on like crutches for like 2 months so it'll heal the right way, man.
I bet you were miserable because you wanted to be in the
I wanted to
cage
be
and
playing.
playing.
And then, dude, my left leg got so weak. I'm like, man, this is just going to be a nightmare. So I had to really, really grind
In
Christmas
December and
break
January.
to get back into playing shape to be ready to go in February.
When y'all started back practicing in January, were you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Shit, yeah.
Okay, so you played first base your freshman year
And sophomore.
and sophomore year. Okay. And then in your junior year, I'm sorry, COVID, nobody, everything went away. So your last year, your senior year, I guess technically you played right field.
Right. Moved out to the outfield.
Yeah.
I got in a lot better shape, man.
Yeah.
I was playing first, and at the time, I was like, I got to get as big as I can to play first base.
yeah.
And I didn't put any really good like weight on. I put bad weight on. So going into my last year, coach was like, "We're gonna put you in the outfield." Or actually, before I came in, I got in like really, really good shape, like very good shape, and I was the fastest player on the team.
Really?
Coach, I remember we were doing a running competition, and coach was like, "Tanner Allen's the fastest guy on the team now."
Dang.
But I was like, "Yeah, I worked my rear end off this summer to get in shape."
Right.
So he's like, "All right, we're moving you to the outfield." And he's like, "Well, we got to have Rowdy in center because he's played center more. Let's just put you in right."
Okay.
Fine with me, coach. I love playing in front of the student section anyways.
Yeah, you love playing in front of Hobie in the student
All of
section and the Tiki tent and all those guys who party out there in the right field.
People don't realize how many conversations we'd have mid-game with like all my friends back there, like just talking nonstop. It was always, that's why we were so good, man. We're so laid back. Like
Yeah.
we knew practice, we took practice so serious and practice was so competitive that the game was a cakewalk.
See, that's
why we were so good in 21.
the elixir.
Recipe.
I mean, that's the deal.
But in a way, practice wasn't hard. Like looking back at it now, I'm like, man, we got after it. But like, it wasn't really getting after it because we were having fun. Like we competed against each other so
Like
hard.
you loved competing against Bednar.
Yes, Bednar, Rowdy, man. Me and Rowdy competed everything.
Preston.
Yeah, Preston's really good, man. He was nasty. He was one of my guys I did not like to face.
Sneaky.
He hid the ball really well. That's what folks don't realize.
Okay.
Like, why are they swinging and missing? Because he hides the ball at his release. The way he released the ball, it kind of gets up on you. Little bitty things in the game, man. I watched a game in Baton Rouge on Friday night with a good friend of mine. He actually does an offshore charter fishing company out of Venice.
That's lit.
Relentless Sport Fishing. His name's Joey Davis, one of my best friends. And he's like, hey, man, let's go watch LSU play in the box. I'm like, yeah, I'll drive over. So I'm down there hanging out, and the game finally starts, and I'm sitting there in the stands with him watching the game, and the whole time he's like, I'm just talking the game the whole time. Because I'm in game mode.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, I had no idea how much you knew about the game and how complex it was. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this a long time.
A long time.
See, you watch the game differently than I watch it.
No doubt.
So he's like, can I go to another game with you so I want to know
That's
everything that's
awesome.
going on.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool.
And let's see, we got a minute or two. You're playing some golf. I know you hunted this past year like crazy.
Man, I was speaking a lot, but I did hunt a little bit.
What do you do more of, duck or deer?
This year was deer. Ducks did not show up.
Okay.
But the deer.
So
hunt
if somebody's got I figured this guy gets invites left and right, but if somebody's got an unbelievable duck camp, you need to get in touch with TA. So
I promise you, I will
next year.
entertain everybody there.
Yes, you will.
I'll have fun shooting ducks, but I promise you, the more when I go to places like that, people bring me out. I just have fun being able to have the camaraderie, and all hanging out and meeting new people and learning what they do, and then everybody's like, "Well, tell us some cool stories about the baseball."
Right,
years.
right,
I'm like,
right,
"Man,
right.
I got plenty of them.
Right.
I got plenty of them.
Well, you're a good storyteller, and that's good. That's going to help you
enjoy
in
it.
sales. It's going to help you in speaking. It's going to
Sure.
help you in business and life and everything. If you can tell stories, you can go a long. Look at Steve Jobs. I mean, arguably the best storyteller in the history of the country, and we all know what Apple has done and is doing. All right. Do you turkey hunt at all?
So I've never killed a turkey,
I got 1 minute.
but this year I'm gonna get it done.
How,
I gotta find one.
What do you have? A couple of weeks?
Yeah, a couple weeks. They've been acting weird this year. Everybody's been telling me, "Hey man, they're not gobbling, and I'm not ready to get. They're not ready. They're doing their own thing." I'm like, "All right, well, I like the offshore fish." So I was like, "I love to pick up turkey hunting, so I could turkey hunt and then transition into offshore fishing. That'd be great."
Love it.
But dude, I've been playing golf like crazy. So one day we get free, I'm coming over and we're playing.
All right, we're putting Tanner Allen on Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, the Azaleas and the Oaks, unbelievable golf courses at Pearl River Resort. So that's happening. I didn't realize you were such a big golfer. We may have to put an event together.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Like when Jake gets back in September,
Let's do
October.
it.
Okay. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Man, thank you. Had a blast every time.
If you want Tanner Allen to speak to your organization, company, church, team, we can get you in touch with TA. He's speaking all over a 3 or 4 state area, which I think is great. So you just hit us up on the text line 601-885-3776, and we'll get you in touch with the 2021 National College Baseball Player of the Year and National Champion TA Tanner Allen. Appreciate it, buddy. Have a good
Hail
weekend.
State, baby. Yep.